and welcome to FYI, our new series about the many programs MCPS has to offer and ways that you can support and engage in our school system efforts. I'm Elaine Chang-Baxter, the Director of Partnerships. With us in the studio today is Dr. LaVerne Kimball. Dr. Kimball is the Associate Superintendent of Elementary Schools. Thank you for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Can you tell us about the Office of School Support and Improvement, what you guys oversee and do?
Yes, the Office of School Support and Improvement engages in very, very important work. Our mantra is empowering leadership and transforming learning. After all, we know that that's what we're here for, our students to learn. So as we work then to ensure that all students in our 205 schools are successful, we really are looking at how is it then that we build the capacity of our leaders with that strong focus on how is it that we are coaching, supervising, and evaluating principals, and working with other administrators as well in order that we serve students well. And in addition to that coaching and supporting, we really deal with a range of issues. We really are that first line of contact. We're the first responders, if you will,
That's right.
with regards to any serious incidents or confidential matters with staffing issues. We provide staffing to schools. So there really is a range of work that we engage in.
That's great. I remember when I was a principal, you know, calling OSSI was like my lifeline.
Yes,
so
absolutely. Yes.
We definitely appreciate it as a principal.
Yes.
You had mentioned earlier, you had talked about being an effective school principal and how they organize a school. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Yes, definitely when we look at effective leadership, we want to really focus on then how that school is organized. And first and foremost, we always, and we hear our superintendent talking about all means all. And we know as we read about this in the research that clearly we embrace a vision that the core purpose is how is it that we ensure that all students are learning at high levels. And in order to do that, an effective leader is really organizing and bringing everyone rallying together around that call and engaged in the collective effort. So just very, very strong ongoing work that is being done to develop the capacity of staff, and that work that is really not focused on one's good intentions or the teaching that is taking place, but work that is really ensuring that learning is taking place. And so as we look at that work, you know, it's beginning with recognizing what is it that we want students to learn and be able to do. And what are we going to, you know, how do we know when they know it? What do we do when they know it? What do we do when they don't know it? You know, being able to respond to those questions. And so our effective leaders organize schools around that in terms of the degree of collaboration isn't focused on collaborative planning for the sake of ensuring that staff have consistent lesson plans, but how is that planning organized so that students are successful? How are we using formative assessments to look at what it is that students know? Did they learn what was taught? What are those interventions that we need to have? And how are we just going to be dogged about evidence that really shows us that the student is learning, a real results focus? That's what our effective leaders are doing.
And as you look at work over time in your office, how do we go about serving all students? I don't know if there's anything else you want to elaborate on. How do we serve all the students as we have changing demographics?
Well, the one thing that I have seen that really is interesting is that over time we do continue to talk about changing demographics. The fact is that the demographics aren't changing. The demographics changed a while ago. And the fact is that we continue to see that we have more students who are impacted by poverty. We have more students who are English language learners. And the fact is that what we have to embrace is that we are here, and we have to really just value and know how this diversity really just makes us stronger. The issue, the real challenge that we face, though, is that as we have become more diverse, we're not serving all students well. So while we continue to espouse that all students can learn at high levels, the challenge is the disparities that we're seeing, and disparities particularly related then for our African American Black students, our Hispanic and Latino students, as well as our English language learners and our students with special needs. And so we really, and this is why we can ill afford to focus on teaching. We must focus on learning.
And because we have such a diverse student and parent population, what are some effective things that either central office or your office or our effective principals are doing to engage families?
It is so important that we reflect that we really do value, that we believe in the inherent worth and value of every person. And people know when they feel welcomed as partners. And so it is really then, how do we engage our parents as partners? How do we really, within our schools and for our leaders, to let parents know that we're here for you? How is it that we inform them of the plethora of resources that we have available for them? We have many parent groups. How do we call on those parent groups? We have our NAACP parent councils. We have our Hispanic groups that are there to help Asian American parent groups. We have resources, linkages to learning. But within schools, every parent wants to know that the staff here really believe in my child. They really believe in their potential. They really are going to tap them. They have a growth mindset. They're going to make them the best they can be. And with the various organizations that we have in Montgomery County, we really are so fortunate as a county to just have any number of organizations who really want to help. And we have to embrace those organizations and let our parent volunteers know exactly how it is that they can help, so that we can just really continue to ensure that students are going to be able to thrive in their future.
Great. And do you have any other last messages for any community members watching this show in terms of how they can engage or who they could reach out to engage in our school system? I know it's so hard to be a principal, and I'm sure principals would love extra support.
And principals love the support, we really do. And first of all, in terms of the community members, I just want to say that the health of any community is definitely related to how educated its citizenry is. And so as we look at life in Montgomery County, we want to continue to have then a high quality of life. And we really need our partners. We really want people to think about, what is it that I can bring? How can I add to what is doing? Our principals so value folks being able to come up and do that. And the fact is, we want the type of involvement that is going to help us is parent involvement that is linked to learning. So we talk about the notion of beyond the bake sale. It's not just the involvement that would be the bake sale or selling wrapping paper.
Sure.
But what is going to be the type of involvement that is going to help our students to learn at higher levels?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kimball, for all of your work, for the monitoring of our principals to make sure that they're being effective for all of our schools, and the encouraging of our community to be involved beyond the bake sales. We appreciate your time and being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Elaine Chang-Baxter, the Director of Partnerships. Join us next time on FYI.